Tonight, the case of air rage forcing a jet to land. The mid-air flight breaking out, a man accused of choking a woman over a seat. The FBI on the case. The war of words escalating tonight. Donald Trump set to speak after what he said about President George W. Bush and 9/11. Jeb Bush outraged. And the Joe Biden watch tonight. Is there now a timeline? The head of the CIA and his personal email hacked. Tonight, the high school student who allegedly broke right in, accessing information on the personal lives of top intelligence officials. The investigation tonight, did this driver act on purpose, suddenly swerving into the other lane? Oprah's $1 million move today sending stocks soaring. Will her fans follow her? And we're in Chicago, cameras rolling tonight as another anonymous check is delivered. This evening, how you could decide where the next check goes.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, reporting tonight from Chicago.
Good evening from Chicago, and we begin tonight with new reporting at this hour after that passenger jet was forced to make an emergency landing just minutes into the flight. The cockpit calling air traffic control, saying there were passengers in an altercation. Tonight, the FBI is now investigating. Police cars rushing to meet that plane after a touchdown. Eyewitnesses say a fight broke out when a woman reclined in her seat. A man behind her now accused of choking her. The suspect seen leaving that plane. ABC's David Curley tonight with the audio. The woman talking with authorities, deciding whether to press charges in this newest case of alleged air rage.
The Southwest jet was only 13 minutes into its flight when the pilot calls the LA Tower.
Hey, flight attendant just called. Evidently, we've got 2 passengers that are in a physical altercation, so we need to get turned around and back to LAX.
West 2010, declaring you an emergency.
Inside the jet, according to Southwest, an escalating situation, a fight between 2 passengers. Those on board say it was all about a reclining seat. A woman reported she was choked by the man behind her, apparently after putting her seat back.
The lady who got, hit was talking about it. She was like, he hit me in my head, he choked me, and she was really emotional.
Police and the FBI were there, and the man, who was never restrained, walked off the plane, taken into custody, with officers talking to the alleged victim.
You have to press charge.
Yeah. You're going to regret that.
Attack me, but what do I do? I'm going to stay here all night because someone
I'm going to just have a private person's arrest because it didn't happen in front of me. It's a misdemeanor, so I can't do anything.
We've seen passengers acting badly on planes in the past. Some have been duct taped or hogtied until the jet could land. And those smaller reclining seats have been a problem. Remember the passenger who used those so-called knee defenders to keep the seat in front from being reclined? He got a soda in the face. In that Southwest case, the man was questioned and then released, but the FBI is still investigating tonight to determine if charges should be filed. David?
David Curley leading us off tonight. David, thank you. We turn now to the race for 2016 and to a brand new poll out just before we came on the air tonight that has Donald Trump and Ben Carson neck and neck at the top, on the Republican side, of course. Marco Rubio next, but still several points behind. Trump taking the stage right now in the midst of a fiery back and forth with Jeb Bush. Their war of words after what Trump said about September 11th and President George W. Bush. Would it have happened if Trump was president? Tonight, you'll hear what he said. ABC's Tom Yamas on the campaign trail.
Tonight, Donald Trump upping the ante, implying a President Trump could have prevented 9/11. His immigration policies would have stopped the al-Qaeda hijackers from infiltrating the U.S.
I believe that if I were running things, I doubt those families would have, I doubt that those people would have been in the country.
Trump first wading into the sensitive issue with these comments.
When you talk about George Bush, I mean, say what you want, the World Trade Center came down during his time. If you look at Sandy Hook,
you can't blame George Bush for that.
He was president, okay? Don't blame him or don't blame him, but he was president.
Jeb Bush once again forced to defend his brother.
Does anybody actually blame my brother for the attacks on 9/11? If they do, they're totally marginalized in our society.
Donald, thank you.
There wasn't always bad blood between Trump and the Bushes. That's a younger, less blonde Trump campaigning for George H.W. Bush in 1988.
He's a great man. He's a man I support.
The young tycoon raising money for the Bush campaign and later supported Jeb Bush, calling him exactly the kind of political leader this country will very much need in the future. But now the Bush campaign is mocking Trump's over-the-top style in a new video.
I'm used to, dealing with killers, people that go,
and pointing to this moment to showcase real leadership.
And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
That image now part of a Bush campaign fundraising email to help, quote, fight back against Trump.
But David, Trump making another big move tonight, now formally requesting Secret Service protection. Dr. Ben Carson doing the same. The Department of Homeland Security now looking into both those requests. David?
Tom Yamas on the campaign trail for us. Tom, thank you. And now to the Democrats tonight. All eyes, of course, on Joe Biden, who appeared to take some subtle jabs today at the two Democratic frontrunners, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. Biden under intense pressure to make a decision, and soon. Even President Obama asked today about the vice president. ABC's Jonathan Karl tonight on the new phone call made with the influential firefighters union and why it might matter.
At the White House today, even President Obama was bombarded with questions about his vice president.
We're talking about climate change, guys. Thank you.
Biden had nothing to say publicly today about 2016, although at a White House event, he did say this.
I don't consider Republicans enemies, they're friends.
Could that have been a swipe at Hillary? This is what she said when asked which enemy she is most proud of.
Well, in addition to the NRA, the health insurance companies, the drug companies, the Iranians, probably the Republicans.
And was this a shot at Bernie Sanders?
I'm not one of these guys, let's go after the rich and the powerful and they're the problem. They're not a problem.
A source involved with Biden's deliberations told ABC News the VP has not made a decision about running for president, but Biden has been calling potential supporters.
How y'all doing?
Over the weekend, talking to the head of the influential firefighters union, who says he told Biden he'd likely get their support if he runs.
It's great to be back.
David, even Biden's closest advisors acknowledged the odds would be stacked against him. He'd be starting late with no money, no campaign organization, and way behind in the polls. As for when he'll decide, they say he could drag out his decision until next week.
The waiting game continues. John Karl live in Washington tonight. John, thanks. Tonight, the FBI is investigating reports of a cyber attack on America's top spy. The head of the CIA, his private email account, allegedly hacked by a high school student, raising serious questions now about security, and tonight what the alleged hacker is now revealing, who else he reportedly got information on. ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas tonight.
Tonight, an allegedly young hacker is posting what he claims is personal information about some of the nation's top intelligence officials. The hacker, who describes himself as a high school teenager angry about the plight of the Palestinians, says he infiltrated a private email account associated with CIA Director John Brennan that had details of Brennan's application for a security clearance. On Twitter tonight, the hacker is also releasing the names and social security numbers of other key intelligence officials on the CIA director's contact list. The FBI and Secret Service are actively pursuing the hacker, and they're investigating another claim in which the hacker says he got into a private account of the Homeland Security Secretary.
So far, there's no evidence that classified information was compromised, but these top officials now face the real prospect of additional hacking and data theft. David?
Pierre Thomas with us from our Washington Bureau. Pierre, thanks to you. And now to what authorities believe could be another security risk. The new rules now for drones. Federal regulators plan to require most drones, even some used for recreation, to be registered. It comes after a spike in sightings and close calls with aircraft, more than 100 a month. Federal regulators hope the new rules will begin to go into effect before the holidays. Americans are on track to buy 700,000 drones by the end of this year alone. Now to the weather whiplash, and from a windy Chicago tonight, a major cold snap from the Midwest to the east over the weekend. This before and after from Parrish, New York. Upstate New York, fall foliage covered in snow, up to 9 inches of snow in some parts. Dangerous roads across upstate New York as the cold front moved through. In the southwest, powerful thunderstorms, lightning over Phoenix, thousands without power for a time. And now comes word of a major warm-up. Rob Marciano just back from upstate New York tonight.
From the Great Lakes to the Northeast, millions feeling winter's early wrath. Police working more than 24 accidents on icy roads in Syracuse. An impressive 9 inches of snow falling just north of there.
We thought maybe a couple of inches, and then it just kept coming.
Underneath the snow, there's some green grass and some fall leaves. The official start of winter still 2 months away.
Boston enduring the earliest October temps below freezing in nearly 30 years. And in the west, more intense storms there, knocking out power in the Phoenix area. Winds gusting over 60 miles an hour, tearing this cotton storage plant to shreds, knocking over this gas station awning and ripping the roof right off this home.
It was like dynamite going off. It was that loud, the entire floor shook.
And in Southern California, the last of the mudcaked cars trapped in those mudslides finally cleared from the highway. Back in studio now as we start with the west. More storms expected there by tomorrow morning. Storms developing across the Phoenix area, but by the afternoon, the focus really shifts towards New Mexico. High-intensity rainfall rates there, potentially some flash flooding. Back to the east we go, where the big warm-up will take shape. Tomorrow, temperatures rebounding quite nicely into the 60s, 70s, maybe even lower 80s by the time Wednesday rolls around. 74 degrees in D.C., 61 degrees in Syracuse. So, David, all that snow that I was standing in this morning will be long gone, certainly by tomorrow and Wednesday, at least for now.
Getting ready for an incredible swing. All right, Rob, thanks for being with us. We also have breaking news overseas tonight on Oscar Pistorius. The Blade Runner has been released one day early from prison. Pistorius spending less than a year behind bars after he was convicted of manslaughter in the shooting death of his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp. He will serve the rest of his 5-year sentence under house arrest now at his uncle's home. Well, tonight, Oprah and that unexpected move involving Weight Watchers. The question, will her fans follow this newest move? Oprah making $70 million in one day and sending Weight Watchers stock soaring up 105% today alone. Here's ABC's Mara Scavalcampo tonight.
Tonight, one of the biggest names in weight loss.
How does it feel to lose weight while on Weight Watchers?
Gaining a powerful new partner. Weight Watchers announcing Oprah Winfrey has bought 10% of the company for $43.2 million, coming on as a board member and advisor and celebrity face. The media mogul tweeting, "I believe in the Weight Watchers program so much, I decided to invest." That investment sending the slumping stock soaring. Oprah herself making approximately $70 million today. The partnership reflects Weight Watchers' efforts to broaden the company's mission to prioritize overall health and wellness. Winfrey, who has famously struggled with her weight over the years,
It is amazing to me that I can't lift it, but I used to carry it around every day.
is a marketing force. The Oprah effect seen with books, her favorite things, and now on the stock market. Winfrey will also join Weight Watchers as a member, sharing her own personal experiences with the program. David?
Mara, thank you. We turn next year tonight to the long-standing debate over pregnant women and alcohol and the new warning now for women. Contrary to what millions of expectant moms may have been told, that a small amount of alcohol is okay, now the nation's top pediatrician saying no amount of alcohol is safe for unborn babies. Here's ABC's Lindsay Davis.
A word of warning for expecting moms tonight from the American Academy of Pediatrics, saying no amount of alcohol should be considered safe during any time of pregnancy.
I think that their point is that it's better to be safe than sorry.
The new guidelines identify prenatal exposure to alcohol as the leading preventable cause of birth defects and intellectual disabilities in children.
Once you know you're pregnant, or if you're trying to get pregnant, you shouldn't be drinking alcohol.
Still, according to one recent study by the CDC, 10% of pregnant women reported drinking alcohol during pregnancy.
I have had occasionally like 1 glass of wine. On occasion, I would say more so at the very beginning.
Now, did either of you ever have a conversation with your own mother about whether she drank alcohol while she was pregnant?
She told me occasionally she had a glass of wine or maybe a beer.
Studies have been mixed on the effect of alcohol consumption on babies.
Some of the problems from alcohol may not show up until a child is a teenager.
So while the American Academy of Pediatrics isn't saying a glass of wine is harmful, they're saying they don't know if it's safe. Lindsay Davis, ABC News, New York.
Next tonight, to a consumer alert, Amazon going to battle over those popular online reviews so many of us read and rely on before we buy something. The retail giant now suing thousands of people who write those reviews. Some are paid to write them. Here's ABC's chief business correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis.
They help you decide where to eat, what to buy, even which retailers to trust.
Sellers on Amazon have said that a good review can make or break their product. If they have a low-starred ranking, then it can totally just knock them out of the running.
But turns out it's actually some of those reviews you shouldn't trust. Tonight, Amazon is suing more than 1,000 individuals for writing fake reviews, allegedly offering their services on the online marketplace Fiverr.com using ads like this one, promising an awesome 5-star review for just $5.
And just look how easy they are to find. I go on Fiverr, type in Amazon reviews, and just like that, dozens of people offering to write a review for $5.
Fiverr says it actively removes services that violate our terms of use. So how can you spot the fakes? Beware of corporate lingo like full brand names, model numbers, and discount codes and links. Look for ranting phrases like does not work or hate it. Negative reviews can also be fakes. Rebecca Jarvis, ABC News, New York.
Finally tonight here, America Strong, the program here in Chicago giving teenagers a chance to give back. It starts with a simple question. If you could give $1,000 to one of your silent heroes, who would it be? First period this morning, and we were headed in John Hancock High School right here in Chicago, up the stairs where students were gathered about to surprise their after-school music instructor, Gustavo Herrera, who has volunteered his time for years.
But he has no idea.
He has no idea at all. That's going to be crazy.
It's kind of hard for teenagers to keep a secret.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
My name is Daniel Luna.
One of his students, Daniel Luna, sent in this video to a Chicago organization called Ving.
I hope the money will help him be able to teach his students the way he wants.
The group invites teenagers 14 to 18 to send in videos about the heroes in their lives. Why should their hero get $1,000?
The person that I would give $1,000 to is my friend Ellen.
They're out to convince one anonymous family here in Chicago to write that check.
And you reveal sort of a quiet hero in your life.
That's it. It's 60 seconds, and it's use your words. They're powerful.
And today's Ving about to be given to Mr. Herrera.
If you had to sum it up, what was the gift he gave you?
Knowledge.
Knowledge.
A lot of knowledge.
Just watch as he walks in.
Hi, I have a surprise for you.
What's that?
This is for you, Gustavo. This is for you, Gustavo. I chose you because you're so passionate and dedicated to teaching us.
I just want to thank you. This is amazing.
Daniel said he was really bad in the beginning at the guitar.
But Daniel, who has learned so much from his hero, was willing to play for his teacher. That teacher who today learned what it's like when the students give back.
And this is amazing, and this is something that I will never forget.
America Strong right here in Chicago tonight. And as we say goodnight, the aerial pictures coming in from WLS this evening. The Cubs practicing at Wrigley Field, gearing up for Game 3 against the Mets here in Chicago tomorrow night. All the talk here. We'll see you back from New York tomorrow night. Until then, good night.